Afrique Média. Le monde, c'est nous.
Hello, good morning. Thanks for joining us this day on your Pan-African Television Afrique Media. We're bringing to you what the papers are reporting. We're going to take a zoom into the different paper headlines this morning as reported in the continent. Thanks for always being there as we begin the week with you, knowing that you're always there. It's equally a pleasure to be with you this morning. Right away, let's begin by analyzing the different papers this morning. We're going to begin right away from Cameroon with the Garden Post daily newspaper, which of course is a lone English daily newspaper in Cameroon, reporting on its front page, Black Sunday in Bali as woman shot dead, pastor injured in church. The paper highlights more on that story and equally captions on its front page. 1 year after launching, Port Tasong presents balance sheet of Northwest-Southwest reconstruction plan. The paper equally is reporting that Army General wants Northwest population to collaborate to continue to suffer. You can find more details of these stories in today's edition of the Garden Post Daily. Still in Cameroon this morning, the Post newspaper is reporting on its front page regarding preserving Anglo-Saxon education. The paper says Southwest Chiefs won against creation of University of Boya annex in Akonolinga. This comes after a delegation from Akonolinga visited the University of Boya to request for an annex campus to be created in Akonolinga. So far, the Southwest Chiefs have said they wish the university should be created, or annex should be created first in the two English-speaking regions. That's, of course, preserving the Anglo-Saxon education. Details you can find in the paper, which clearly reports that military amber confrontations in Boya, Kumbu leave children dead and others wounded. You can find more of those stories in the Post newspaper from Cameroon. The Herald this morning, the Herald Tribune is reporting still on the crisis in the two English-speaking regions. Reporting from Bali in the northwest region says church service goes bloody as faithful killed, pastor wounded. This is, of course, regarding the ongoing and continuous crisis in the two English-speaking regions. Paper equally says that CDC on bended knees for governments to redeem cooperation. You can find more details in the paper. Reporting equally, Mezam 2 section president replies newspaper WhatsApp adversaries regarding a reorganization of CPD and basic organs in the region. Details, the Herald Tribune. The Guardian from Nigeria this morning on its front page says Otum Ohanaize Falana kick over unknown grazing route. Paper is reporting that Benue government threatens legal actions against Buhari. Equally says ranching federal government should allocate 6.25 billion naira to other states, reported Falana. You can read in the paper equally how the CBN's $50 billion intervention failed to rally confidence in stock market. You can find the details in the paper, which reports equally that 500 COVID-19 deaths recorded at Lagos Isolation Center, says the minister. Details, the Guardian from Nigeria. Nigerian Tribune this morning for Sunday's edition says you are not different from bandits. That's what the paper captions at its main story. Says Gumi blasts politicians who hired jets to attend Buhari's son's wedding. The wedding of the Nigerian president's son took place over the weekend. Of course, you can find out details why the Sheikh Ahmed Gumi, renowned Islamic scholar, equally, blast the politicians for being bandits. We'll come to that story and details later on. More in today's edition of the Nigerian Tribune. And we stay in Nigeria, of course, out of Nigeria rather, with Daily Nations this morning. Front page reporting on politics says Ruto and Mudavadi allies demand reform of cash use in campaigns, says the BBI. Battle shifts to Parliament. According to the paper, members of Parliament alleged to President Kenyatta are expected to review the constitutional changes pushed through the House this week following Friday's Court of Appeal judgment that affirmed the High Court's decision declaring the Building Bridge Initiative illegal The lawmakers have now cherry-picked 52 clauses of the BBI proposals, which they say don't require a referendum of efforts. Page 5 completes that story. In today's edition of the Daily Nations, which equally says puzzle of missing from ones. More details you can find in today's edition, Daily Nations. Still on Daily Nations this morning, papers report equally on 15 Nigerian students freed after 48 days in captivity. Paper goes ahead to report that a group of girls previously kidnapped from their boarding school in northern Nigeria, seen here on front page after their release on March 2nd, 2021, bandits have released 15 out of the remaining 80 of the 123 students abducted from Bethel Baptist High School in Nigeria's Kaduna State. Photo credit you can find on the front page of the paper, and the question still remains, where are the rest of the girls? Details, The Nation. Ghanaian Times this morning, front page is reporting on gruesome murder at Abesim IG. That's the IGP orders swift action. Page 3 completes the story on that gruesome murder. Meantime, several Africans continue to die from road accidents. Front page equally reports 22 perish, others injured in 3 separate road crashes over the weekend. Page 3 completes the story in today's edition of the Ghanaian Times. The East African this morning on its front page is reporting that Kagame's men restore hope in Mozambique. You can want to read about the story, which says Rwanda sent a contingent of the troubled Cabo Delgado province from insurgents in under 3 weeks. They are shooting the breeze where even Russian mercenaries won't trade in 5 years. Page 8 to 9 completes that story. You may want to read the success recorded so far by Kagame's men in the fight against terrorism in Mozambique in today's edition of the East African. New Times from Rwanda this morning, front page is reporting on the new Ubodeha categories to be activated by December. You might want to read about the story, which says the Ubodeha is a long-standing and cultural value of mutual assistance, which was adopted by the government in the year 2000 as part of an initiative or strategy to address poverty reduction. You can see on front page, which caption says citizen receiving a cow to boost her well-being from the Girinka program. Stakeholders have vowed to ensure that the new and clearer Ubodeha, that's Ubodeha categories, devoid of any errors, are activated by December this year. Details you can find in today's edition. New Times from Rwanda. Newsday this morning from Zimbabwe says that Zimbabwe is begging the U.S. government for talks on sanctions. According to the paper, the Zimbabwe government has pleaded for a meeting with United States Senate officials in a bid to push for sanctions against President Emmerson Mnangagwa and members of his administration. You can read details in today's paper, as we shall be coming back to analyze on this issue. Details in Newsday from Zimbabwe. And the Chronicles, equally from Zimbabwe this morning, on its front page is reporting on murder rap for Marange underage girls' hobby. You can read equally how government considers reopening schools that meet the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. According to officials in the country, the cases have dropped, and so far they are considering to reopen schools since they were shut as a result of measures to curb the spread of the COVID-19 virus in Zimbabwe. More details in the Chronicles. And the Herald this morning is saying that President off to Hichilema inauguration. Emmerson Mnangagwa is reported to flight to Zambia for the inauguration of the recently elected president. Schools secondary reopen under consideration. Details in the Herald. Those are the papers which we shall be putting an eye on this morning. Regarding inside the papers, we shall be talking more on the different papers and so far what the front pages are reporting. That's of course main captions or main papers we have this morning to look into. Thanks once more for being there. It's on your Pan-African television, Afrique Media, and once more we're pleased to know that you're there. And joining us to analyze some of those papers and the major headlines, it's Tessa Bax. She's a journalist, and thanks for being there, Tessa.
It's my pleasure. We're talking about Africa. It's very important.
Yes, very much. We're talking about Africa, and it's very important. Right away, we shall begin from Cameroon with the Garden Post daily newspaper this morning on its front page report on Black Sunday in Bali as woman shot dead, pastor injured in church. This is, of course, regarding the ongoing crisis in the two English-speaking regions. It's not getting any better. Each day and each passing day, we have incidents as such recorded. Worshippers were in church yesterday, Sunday, but unfortunately, we're recording a loss of life and a pastor equally injured as a result of fire exchange between armed men back there in Bali.
I'll say that when you look at the headlines today on The Guardian, it's really ironical. I don't know whether you watch it the way I'm watching it right now, because we have bloodshed at the start. And at the end, down part of the news, we still have bloodshed. But in the middle, we are told that everything is going to be fine.
Exactly.
So
That's, of course, regarding Porter Song presents balance sheet of Northwest Southwest reconstruction plan 1 year after launching. Are the evidence on the ground, actually? Because just like you're saying, we're still having these confrontations ongoing. How is the reconstruction going on with such, killings and destructions and all the rest?
But I think that when you read from The Guardian today, they are not the ones saying it. They went and took the report from another newspaper where they are, how can I say, the bill-up has been given that everything is going on well. But when you look at the presentation today, you understand that we are facing a lot of confusion. Because we can't be talking about peace when actually we are seeing bloodshed. So I think that today the newspaper, The Guardian, is actually trying to attract our attention and telling us that we should not be thinking, we should act. And it's very important to take a decision right now because others have the impression that nothing is going on, whereas people are dying. And that's it's not at all good.
Yeah. So at this point in time, what do you think could be done? We are at the crossroad. More bloodshed, more
We have been
destruction.
talking about dialogue, and I think that that's where we aim at. Because whatsoever we do right now, what we are seeing in those various areas in Cameroon today gives us the impression that the conflict, which brought the whole issue, is now diluted. We talk mostly of people who are being kidnapped. We see people coming up for money issues and all the like. Really, the problem has been brought down at a certain level, and now we face a lot of attacks which are personal as well as financial dedicated. So I think that we should actually try to find a solution, that is get to those who were having the claims and try to see what can be brought up so that either we bring complete peace by following what they want, or we try to find a solution, because the more we play the blind, we have bloodsheds coming all over. So I think it's a situation which is more than clear. There need to be an action. As long as the other part is going to be giving out news saying that everything is okay, we are going to be having such headlines where we talk of peace and the next minute we have blood in it.
Yeah, just like the paper is reporting that Porter Song has said, the implementation of the plan is unfolding on a satisfactory pace 1 year after it was launched. Now, we'll have people like this who are not able to present the true reality of the situation on the ground. Now, he says everything is unfolding in a satisfactory rate with all this. Do you think they are the problems why the crisis is not coming to an end?
I would say everybody has his reality. But when somebody is dead, that's the real reality that we have to face. Maybe where he is, the reports are telling him what he's seeing. But if we have this headline where you see the announcement of somebody who has died, we talk about gunshots. They have not even said who did the gunshot, actually. It's just a gunshot. There is somebody who is dead. And you go under the newspaper again, you see another issue. But in the middle, they're telling us that things are going on well. And that for 1 year now, everything has been followed up. So it means that we are having a country where people are watching what they want, saying what they think, and not actually following up. I can't say that maybe the reports he's receiving are not the good ones, but I think that if he's also looking at the newspaper, he should also try to understand what is actually happening on the other side.
And it's unfortunate that justice might not be done for those who've died. Innocent civilians continue to pay the huge price as the crisis drags on in the two English-speaking regions now. And we take you over to the Post this morning. The Post newspaper this morning on its front page is talking about preserving Anglo-Saxon education. Highlights that Southwest Chief has won against creation of University of Boya Annex campus in Akonolinga. And this, of course, came after a delegation of Akonolinga Council members were in Boya to plead for an annex of the University of Boya to be created in Akonolinga, and many are on the opinion that this could be a good move, but rather the Southwest Chief referred to their letter, which they had earlier suggested that this annex instead should be created in these two regions. They had highlighted in a letter that the alert published that choosing some areas and localities in the northwest and southwest regions for this annex to be created. They cited the Faculty of Agriculture to be created in Ekonotiti, that's in the Indian division. They said the Fishery and Maritime Studies should be created in Limbe rather, in the Faculty division. And they said Higher Teacher Training College should be created in Bangem, that's Kupe Maningwa division. The School of Mines and Geology should be created in Mamfe in Mayo division, as well as School of Pharmacy and Pharmacopoeia should be created in Menji in Lebialem. Meantime, Faculty of Engineering and Cyber Criminology should be created in Kumba in Memed division. And this is, of course, the opinion of the chiefs from the Southwest region, according to what they think. Creating something out of these two regions is going to incite the already existing bad feeling we're having regarding the crisis in these two English-speaking regions.
No, actually, I'm okay with what they're saying, but my question would come, how is it possible that such a decision was taken without first consulting them? Because I feel that if Boya really needed such a dislocation or annex, as they say, I think that they would have been the first to be consulted. As such, they would have given those propositions so that today we shouldn't find ourselves carrying a university's name this far to Akonolinga. What I actually think is that maybe Akonolinga today is somehow trying to say that they would like also to have their own structure, university or whatsoever. At that time, I think it's possible to sit down and see how to launch it. But if we have places available, spaces where we can educate, because we have to say something. Education is mostly like a spirit that you carry with you. When you get to Boya, I think it's another way. It's another field, another vision that you have. So dislocating when there are possibilities of adding those annex in the same region, I don't really get it. So whosoever thought the idea was a good one will just say that it is possible to do the annex, but why not keep it where it is? I don't know whether they will change the name Boya, or they're going to dislocate it and say it's the University of Boya of Akonolinga. Is that what they intend to do?
Of course,
because
several questions.
yes, it's really a bit confusing. So if Akonolinga today needs to have a university, why not get a university for Akonolinga? But actually, if the chiefs are giving out those various possibilities, I don't understand why there will be any conflict. Because I have the impression that everything now, we use it to make tribalistic attacks or some sort of discrimination, but there is no need for that. But the real question actually is that, when are they going to put it up? Are we going to do it in this actual situation where we don't have peace in those areas of the northwest and southwest? Or is it for us to wait after the crisis? And when is the crisis? When is this situation is going to change completely? So if it is the annex is really necessary, I think staying in that region, arranging things with the natives, everything is a good one, because it's a spirit. When we talk of schooling in Boya, we know that it's a spirit. It's completely different from any other place in Cameroon. So I will really call on them to sit with them, organize it, and see how to launch it. But now we are talking about security. Is it possible at this period? So that's how I see the situation.
Rain time could be one of the ways in resolving the crisis that has dragged on, which is, the outcry has been marginalization and the non-respect of the education, which of course is a priority. Yes, exactly.
Keep it to them.
So we're hoping to see what the outcome will look like after the outcome of the.
I think there is no hope to try to. I think Cameroon is a country which has already had a lot of issues to handle. Adding that one, I think, is somehow like we are not tired of problems. If Akonolinga wants a university, I think that there are people who are there for that and can work on it. If the University of Boya needs to have another annex, I think that we have more than 5 areas available to structure such a request. So why make it an issue, really? I don't see the impact of it.
All right, we have the Herald Tribune this morning. On its front page is talking about the church service goes bloody as faithful killed. Pastor equally wounded. That's what the paper captions equally. And we equally find the paper reporting on CDC on bended knees for government to redeem corporation. We realize that the corporation, which was one of the biggest employees employers in the southwest region, of course, is on its bended knees. Do you see any possibility of reviving the corporation amidst the crisis?
I think we are talking about something which is not easy to accept. When you see the images, you see what is remaining of such a place.
Yeah.
It's really painful. But I think that if you get, I was in the southwest some hours ago, I would say that everything is possible. And if it was something that was really bringing something to our economy,
Yeah.
I think more than ever, all what it has already brought as interest can possibly be used again to bring it back to life. So it is very important that the government sees what to do, so that there are many people who were employed, who were
Yeah.
working there. So we
Yeah.
need to take them back and make sure that things maybe get stabilized a bit.
Hoping that things get stabilized a bit. That's, of course, the hope for what many are looking at. This day, we take you to the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Nigerian Tribune, according to Nigerian Tribune, says that you are not different from bandits. Of course, this is regarding the Sheikh Ahmed Gumi, renowned Islamic scholar, has come down hard on the politicians who hired private jets to Kano. Governors, according to the paper, ministers and others top politicians spend millions of nairas to fly no fewer than 50 jets or private jets to the wedding. The paper says that to charter a private jet costs between $5,000 and $7,000 per hour, depending on the size of the plane. This is what we have regarding politicians in Nigeria, and so far, this Muslim scholar has come hard on these politicians, hiring a private jets for $5,000 to $7,000 to attend a wedding.
I think it's not the first wedding under Buhari. It's not the first one. And there are always complaints because it's normal. It's a country which is facing some adversities.
Yeah.
Not everywhere in Nigeria is that glamorous. There we still have the situation with light. I think the last time I was there, it wasn't easy to have light. I think there are so many things that the government can contribute. And if personalities can also invest to make it a better place, I think it will be the best, because as they say, paying for a jet,
Yeah.
really,
It's not
when
expensive just to attend a wedding because he's the son of the president.
when there are many other issues, you
Yeah.
know, there are children, and we have the issue with the orphanages, the children. And
a lot of people who need.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think it's normal to call on it, to have it. Because if you look at it, people might not understand, but a call like that is just like making people to be aware that there are more that can be
Issues
done.
to
Yeah,
be
there are things that
handled
can be
than,
given out. Yes,
spending money on
because
luxury
somebody has
travels.
his money, you can't blame
Stop
him.
them from
Yeah,
spending
that's
the
it.
money. Now, many believe that most of these politicians are using money which is supposed to be distributed evenly to the citizens for their private benefits and luxury travels like this.
We all know that Africa today is faced with huge corruption, where Nigeria is not
Politicians using their positions to enrich themselves and their
influence,
families.
and that's it. So, if we are looking at that aspect, yes, it's a good one to make a call and
Okay.
create awareness, because money is needed everywhere. And if it's only for a wedding, just for a day, I think when you make the addition, it's really frightful.
All right. So, we can considering that one politician spends at least $15,000 for 3 hours, considering that one hour considerably is $5,000 for a private jet. Okay. Now, let's take you to the Nation this morning, reporting still from Nigeria. We're talking about 15 Nigerian students freed after 48 days in captivity. A group of girls previously kidnapped from their boarding schools in northern Nigeria, seen here on picture front page. They are released on March 22nd. Bandits have released 15 out of the remaining 80 of the 123 students abducted from Bethel Baptist High School in Nigeria's Kano State. Professor, this of course is a question many keep asking. Where are 123 girls kept? Where are the others who are continuously being kidnapped kept? How vast is Nigeria with the modern technologies that we have? Is it still impossible for us to identify and stop these kidnappings? The quick question equally is, how do you take 128 girls? What's the means of transportation? Now, how do you understand all this?
I will just quote on what you just said about how vast is Nigeria. I think I've been chanced to go through Nigeria, be it by air or by road, and I can tell you that it's possible. The areas where I got to in Nigeria, where I had the impression that if you disappear from there, nobody will know. There are no police stations. It's really like a no man's land. You understand? So I think that if we really observe, it's possible to have a space where to keep them. As you said, for transport, I don't have any idea. Maybe it's possible that they come with the cars and the means and they know how to disappear. But I'll really call maybe for more control over the area, because I'll tell you, when you go through that particular country, it's a vast one. Sometimes I say, let's give respect to the president who is handling that country, because every area you can't really have an eye on it. But now, talking about the technologies, I'll say that it's really confusing, because having those technologies, I think that getting to know where they are will have been a very easy task. But we ask ourselves whether the government has the means, because we might be talking about what is in the US, whereas it's not yet in
We
Nigeria.
have politicians renting private jets for $5,000 an
We
hour.
are okay. That's another way of telling them, if they can make that contribution to have those equipment to know where they are, then it's good. But I also believe that when we talk about a whole country like Nigeria, we have some intelligentsia who is based and knows what is happening around. So maybe they are not tapping at the right place to have all the info, but I think that they cannot be hiding those children. We discovered with time that they had them married. Some were
Yeah.
taken as women, they were married, and they had a normal life until one day they discovered that they were in this particular village or another. They don't take them like slaves. Some, we know, if you are looking at Boko Haram and what is going through, we notice that they take those girls to go and create some sort of how can I say, they take the girls to be like the next generation.
establish
Yes,
their
yes, for their
lineage,
children. Yes, so it's we have been seeing it. It's not something that's surprising. They don't take the girls to go and hide automatically. They take the girl and change completely her psychological vision of the world and adapt her to what they want, because they know that the women of today are no more the same. So it's better to take them very young and go and
Groom them.
yes, work with them, and make them have the kids, and later on give them back to their families. We know what is happening actually. So talking about knowing where they are, which is a problem, I think that the next thing is to really try to watch out, have a bigger eye on how things are working up in Nigeria to prevent such situations, because we see families waiting for years to know whether the daughter is alive or not. And when she's back, she's a mother. She has lost a lot. She's no more the young girl. So I think that awareness is on every side. The government to watch out, and the civil societies, the activists, all who are fighting for the women to do something, so that it should not be something which is always happening, that the girls are suffering in Nigeria.
Unfortunately, the girls continue to suffer and they continue to be victims, while some, are kidnapped for ransom purposes. We keep an eye on Nigeria as well, as this time around we take you to the Ghanaian Times this morning, reporting on 22 perished others equally injured in 3 separate road accidents over the weekend. This is common in Africa. Tessa, we're realizing that several Africans, despite the other situations we're having, roads continue to claim several lives in Africa. 22 perished over the weekend in Ghana. This is, of course, just one of the incidents. We have many dying equally on one of the roads which links the capital city with the economic capital of Cameroon. And what do we say could account for the several deaths recorded on our roads? Should we say poor driving?
Yeah, I think
Roads
we
are not
should
good.
mostly talk of poor driving, because when we talk of Ghana today, we know there's no comparison with Cameroon when we talk about the roads.
Yeah.
So I'll actually say that it's maybe the attitude when you're on the road. But going for maybe the other country, we can say that it's a problem of roads, because when you watch the two countries, the balance is not really the same. But let's say that it's unconsciousness when they get to the road. And we should also check on the trainings.
Yeah.
We have those schools where they go to. So most of the times we have this habit of drinking, which makes everybody to feel that they can drive. Even when I'm drunk, I can
So
drive.
we advise on consciousness on the road.
Yeah,
To
and
drivers.
the driving schools also to be very professional.
All right.
Because sometimes we have people who are not ready, but are the ones who are holding lives.
Okay. The East African this morning, that's the paper we have right now, reports that Kagame's men restore hope in Mozambique. Rwanda sent a contingent to seize the troubled Cabo Delgado province from insurgents in under 3 weeks. The shooting, they are shooting the breeze where even Russian mercenaries won't threat in 5 years. African sovereign the African problems. That's, of course, what we're having here as Kagame's men restore hope in Mozambique. Africa is able to solve Africa's problem. We're seeing the situation in Mozambique. Kagame's men are able to restore hope. As according to what the paper is saying, they have been able to, exploit even the zones that Russia has not been able to exploit in
Only
the past 5
Africans
years.
know Africa.
Yeah,
Only an African can know the roads in Africa. Only
So-
an African can know how to really run from an enemy, and that is something that if they let us communicate with one another, I think we are going to make great things. And if you notice, Mozambique has been through hell for more
Yeah.
than a year with those jihadis. They have been having those problems coming up, and only a country like Rwanda of Kagame could really actually give out the situation. And I think that collaboration is what we need mostly in Africa, because when you have your how can I say, your frontiers, it is only your neighbor next to you
Yeah.
who can really actually give you a situation, a solution. So
Okay.
I think that if Africans today with that could understand that they need to come together, having a solution from France, Russia, USA is very far-fetched.
Yeah.
Why not try around? Because we are seeing that Mozambique for more than a year had been going through hell,
Yeah.
and today through a neighboring African country, they can make it. I think it's a message to all the African countries that we have to come as one. It's not
To
only
solve
by
African problems.
sending big letters out there for for emergency that is going to bring solutions.
All right, so we much appreciations to Rwanda's President Paul Kagame for the wonderful job, of course, he's doing back there, not just ensuring security, but he's doing a marvelous job because he's developing his country.
Yes.
And Rwanda is becoming one of the reference points in Africa.
We never said
sure.
that Rwanda was perfect,
Yeah.
but we noticed that they tried
They are
to be
moving.
good.
Okay. Okay, and now we ending with the Newsday from Rwanda. It's reporting Zimbabwe pleading with that for talks with sanctions. That's according to what the Newsday is reporting. Says that the Zimbabwe government has pleaded for a meeting with United States Senate officials in a bid to push for sanctions against that's Emerson Mnangagwa and members of his administration to be lifted, relating that relations between the U.S. and Zimbabwe have been marred for 2 decades after Washington imposed sanctions regarding the 2001 presidential election, citing electoral theft and human rights abuses. Now, just how we come back to the fact that African countries continue to suffer sanctions from Western nations, we realize that we look at the elections in America in 2020, and we see that sanctions are still being meted on African countries for not respecting the electoral code and not holding elections rightly. Now, what do we say? Are there any perfect elections around the world?
I'll say that we should not forget that Zimbabwe is actually getting up from more than 40 years of control from Mugabe. And the way the president was taken off from power, we all know that there was a lot of instability. So it is normal to understand that the colonial or the exterior, the outside, how can I say, the outside leaders managed to have a hand into Zimbabwe. But I think that if gradually they understand the interests of the country, they will know what to do. But if every time they have to plead and await from America, like they are doing right now, for a solution, I think that it's not going to be an easy task. And we are still calling on the African leaders to really understand that it's not by going towards the exterior to have power that you're sure that you have control over the country. It's better to arrange with the opposition, with those around you, and make a clear government.
Okay.
Because in every government, there's always an opposition.
Yeah.
And if you have a way of collaborating with your opposition, you'll make things happen than having this situation where we see calling for USA to be coming up as a savior. It's really, at this particular area of time, particular period of time, it's not something we can say is good for Africa.
All right. And we ending with the Herald this morning, which says President Emerson Mnangagwa is en route to Zambia for the inauguration of the newly elected Hichilema. Hichilema, who is the newly elected president back there in Zimbabwe. Just an appreciation on the way elections held. We saw it going smoothly, handing over. It's taking place easily. Certainly a lesson for other African
Africans.
countries to learn.
Yes, there is a time for everything. That's why I was saying what we are seeing the other side is not automatically a reflection of Africa of today.
Okay.
There are going to be changes, there are going to be moves, and we have to follow them. And everything which is positive, we should really give a hand.
Yeah.
And where we see that is not good, why not say it out?
Okay.
So as long as we do it, I think that we'll have a positive Africa with time.
A positive Africa with time, and with the collaboration of every other African, I think.
Yeah,
Because
very important. It's our future. You see,
It's-
when you leave your neighbor in war,
Yeah.
the war will enter your country. So it's better you stop the war at your frontiers
Yeah.
and try to settle so that things can be stable and you can sleep very well in your own area. If not, the colonial master or the exterior
Will
will
always
pass
take
through that
advantage.
to get into your place.
Thank you very much for being there this morning, Tessa.
You're welcome.
And we very much appreciate those of you who took our time to watch this morning. It's been Inside the Papers, taking a look at what major headlines papers reported this morning on your Pan-African television. Stay with us, more programs are right next. Tomorrow, same time, we shall be coming back with more of what the papers have reported. Until then, it's a bye for now.